Radhe Krishna Guru.
Okay, we'll start from Mangalacharan. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षु उन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की जय। Hare Krishna. So everyone can see my screen? Okay. Okay. So last week we started discussing chapter 14. So we've done more than 60-70%. Just a quick revision. Then we'll get inside. So this chapter, anyone knows what this chapter talks about? What's the topic of chapter 14 in NOD? So we already finished 64 limbs of bhakti till chapter 13. So before we enter to Ragaranga Bhakti, this is chapter 14. So what does this chapter 14 talks about? What's the topics? Anyone?
Talking about analysis of jnana and vairagya.
Thank you, Prabhuji. One topic, more topics.
Devotion.
Remembering in the mood.
Um, okay. Jnana and Vairagya is correct, Prabhu. Little more. But
Yukta
yeah,
Vairagya.
so Gyan Vairagya is already there. Yes. More.
Already Bhakti will give all this jnana and vairagya.
Bhakti will give Gyan and Vairagya. Good. More.
Your,
Sorry.
your birth doesn't give the qualification.
Thank you, Mata. So bhakti is not dependent on varnashram. So that's where the chapter starts. So bhakti is independent. This is similar to chapter 5. Thank you. What's the relationship between previous chapters and chapter 14? Besides these 2 points which we just discussed. So bhakti is independent, not dependent on varnashram, and discussion on jnana and vairagya. They are not necessarily the part of bhakti. They can even sometimes become obstacle to bhakti. So that's what we are reading. One more relationship with the previous chapters. Who can tell? Anyone? Akarnasa Prabhu? So why this is discussed towards the end? Just remember that, then you'll remember the answer. 64 items are finished. This is extra chapter in between. Yes, Akarnasa Prabhu.
We should follow the 64 items which we studied before in the mood of chapter 14.
Haribol. That's a good analysis. Okay, more. So basically, what is not given as a part of 64, but it's a very important, that's given in chapter 14. So although it's not part of 64, but it's very important in practicing bhakti. That's why Rupa Goswami has put this extra section which talks about jnana, vairagya, and bhakti being independent. Now he has already discussed about it in chapter 5, but he is rediscussing that in chapter 14 again, so that we understand again and again. So in the beginning he discussed, at the end he's discussing. So again, it shows the importance of because in the Vedic culture, many times the followers have this misunderstanding. Only Brahmanas can become devotees. Shudra cannot, Chandalas cannot. But that's not the point here at all. Bhakti is completely independent. So we discussed about that. So these items which are discussed in this chapter are very important in practicing bhakti. They are not directly part of 64 angas, but when we practice them in the right mood, as Akhanda Prabhuji said, we can practice other items very, very nicely. Okay, so varnashram activities are not items of bhakti. Who can explain me this picture? Now, don't just tell the name, tell the little bit more about this picture which we discussed last week.
Prabhuji,
Yeah, yes, Mohit Prabhuji.
I think it's a conversation between Ramananda and
Yes.
Mahaprabhu, and we talk about how they're setting up an example that Mahaprabhu is a Brahman and he's a Shudra, and how Shudra is speaking to Brahmana about the bhakti. So basically, it's a conversation with them.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice. And one more, you can add on to that. So that is based on birth. So by birth, Mahaprabhu is a Brahman, he's a Shudra by birth, and he's a Grahastha right
Yes,
now.
yes.
And Mahaprabhu is a renunciate.
Yes.
He is in the highest order of sannyas, and he's a grahastha. And like if a sannyasi comes to temple, a grahastha come, we will obviously prioritize sannyasi or grahastha. But here sannyasi is listening from a grahastha. He's a working man. He's working the government. He has a good big post. Like if you remember in the case of Prataparutra, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not want to meet with Prataparutra just because of his one qualification slash disqualification. What was the reasoning of Mahaprabhu? He's a king. He's a Vishayi. Now he's also a governor, right? A very big post. But Mahaprabhu very nicely, humbly sitting and listening from this particular person. So setting up an example, bhakti is beyond all these parts. It doesn't matter who is in which ashram, which varna, what's the birth like, what's his external occupation like. In VSS, we were discussing about 12 types of Vaishnava Aparadh last week. So when we consider a Vaishnava, I don't remember all of them, but I'll try to, according to Janma, according to Kaya, according to body, someone is looking good, he must be a good devotee. Someone is looking ugly, he's not a good devotee. Someone's occupation is very high. So there are 12 types of aparadha Ramanujacharya tell to Shaila Purna, which we can commit. Occupation-wise, avastha-wise, like age. A 5-year-old boy or a girl. Oh, they're just a boy. No, Prahlad Maharaj was only 5-year-old. Dhruv Maharaj only 5-year-old. So based on age, we cannot distinguish. He's a higher Vaishnava or a lower Vaishnava. Based on kaya, body, based on occupation, based on birth, based on ashrama. So there are different types of aparadhs. So when we do this sort of, when we have this sort of vision towards a Vaishnava, we actually can become an offender. So Vaishnava is beyond all this. His only parichaya, his only introduction is how much advancement, how much love he has for Krishna. Krishnaika Sharanam. If he has taken complete shelter of Krishna, anything else is just external. It doesn't matter. Okay, and then we have some examples here as well, which I'll not read. This is from Bhagavatam, where Krishna is clearly saying to Deva, mystic yoga system, philosophical speculation, charity, vows, penance. You give a lot of charity and thinking, I'm a big devotee. Not really. You've taken a strict vows. You remember that milk drinking brahmachari in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected him. And he said, to hell with my vows of just milk drinking. So you've taken a severe vows, severe penances you are doing, even in the 50-degree temperature. You're putting Agni around you, those sorts of penances. Ritualistic sacrifices. Prachin Barhishad. For example, Narad Muni actually criticized him for doing all these sacrifices because he was just into it and forgot the purpose of the sacrifice. Teachings of Vedic mantras to others, Brahman and the cobbler story. Big Vedic Brahman, Yagapatni's story in 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The husbands were such a great scholars, but they forgot the purpose of it. Personal study of the Vedas or the renounced order of life, being a sannyasi. Radha Govind Maharaj said, any sannyasi who does not chant Hare Krishna will go to hell. Radha Govind Maharaj speaking, not me. He will go to hell if he does not chant Hare Krishna. So all these things are external. They only aid when they are developing love for Krishna. Otherwise, Shrama eva hi kevalam. So Varnashram activities are not items of bhakti. That's why it's not written. A Brahman can only perform bhakti. Sannyasi can perform bhakti. Now in Mayavadis, and I don't want to go into much detail there, bhakti only starts when you take sannyas actually, as per them. Sorry, spiritual advancement. I shouldn't call it bhakti, spiritual advancement. But as soon as you take sannyas vows, you become Narayan. They say that actually. You are Narayan. Not you are like that. You are Narayan. And whenever someone sees the Mayavadi sannyasis, they say Namo Narayan. Namo Narayan means you are Narayan. So as soon as they have taken vows, now after that, whatever they do, it doesn't matter. He's already become Narayan because he's taken a vows. So it's totally different, actually, approach. Totally. Here we say, even if you're a sannyasi, you're not following, you're fallen. And even if you're a grhastha, you can be very advanced. Janak Maharaj, very, very advanced. He's a Mahajan. But if you're not following, that's it. Your external designation doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Okay, so that's a nice discussion by Rupa Goswami. Then he does detailed analysis of jnana and vairagya. And again, he's repeating, I'll just read one line. Actually, jnana and vairagya can make the heart hard. Now, here we are talking jnana, which is bhakti pratikul gyan, not bhakti anukul gyan. Bhakti anukul gyan, which softens the heart of a person. That is very nice. That is very nice. But the gyan which hardens the heart, that gyan is not recommended. That vairagya. And Jiva Goswami says the goal of vairagya is gyan. And what is the goal of gyan? Is liberation. I will become Narayan. I will go and merge into the Brahman. All those things. So devoid of any devotional service. So these sort of gyan and vairagya is not recommended. Rather, they can become an obstacle as well. So we have to be very careful. Some evidences I'll not read, just read the numbers. So 11, 20, 31, 11, 20, 32, and 33. Nice discussions. Now, Prabhupada writes this one line: fixing the mind of Krishna is the most essential part of sadhana. Since Jnana and Vairagya fail to do so, they are not items of sadhana bhakti. Now, again, if our Jnana and Vairagya is aiding us to remember Krishna, they are very, very nice. If sannyasi is taking some vows so that he can do more service for Krishna, that is very nice. Or even anyone takes the vows. In Kartik, for example, many devotees take vows. That's very nice. That's all devotion service. They are the vows to please Krishna. And in the process of pleasing Krishna, they give up few things. I will give up my sleep. I'll sleep less. I will eat less so that I can chant more. I can worship more. I can do more devotional service. I can do more preaching. So those sort of penances, vows are very, very nice. Okay, now Rupa Goswami gives this famous example of Yukta Vairagya. Anasaktasya Vishyan Yatharham Upayunjata Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagyam Uchate. So who can tell me the meaning very quickly without looking at the screen if possible? Anasaktasya Vishyan is very simple. Sakhi Radhika Mata, you want to try? It's a simple verse.
Prabhu, I'm not sure, but I'll try.
Yes.
It
We're all
means like
learning, so it's
it
okay
is
if you, miss out few points.
what I understand it is similar to the Paribhasha Sutra that if when one is not attached to anything, I mean their attachment is towards anything which is in relation to Krishna. And then I'm
Can
not
you
sure.
break the words, Mataji? So just read
Yeah,
the verse, just break it. Anasaktasya Vishyan. So this line is for
without attachment one.
without attachment, self-attachment. So it's for the sadhaka. So sadhaka should not be attached to vishayas, to the sense objects, basically. So this is for the sadhaka. Second line, yatharham
Yatharam,
upayunjata. Yatharham means
according to suitability.
according to suitability. So every object has a suitability level, you can say. Yatharam upayunjata. Upayunjata means engage.
Engage.
Engaging that item as per the suitability. If item is 100% suitable, obviously we put in 100%. If 70% suitable, we put 70%. One example which comes to my mind, Vaisheshika Prabhu once was doing book distribution. He was trying to distribute a book to a person who was smoking cigarette. And Prabhu said, take this book. And he said, yeah, I can take the book, but I have no money. So Prabhu said, okay, all right, you have no money, but give me something. Give me something. He said, I don't have anything. So Prabhu said, give me the lighter. So he took that lighter, cigarette lighter, from this person and gave some book. And when he came back home, next day he was worshipping his deity, he used that lighter to light the incense. And he wrote this article actually. I read it or heard it somewhere. He wrote this, I am using this lighter which was given by a person who was smoking cigarette. He is using his vastu, his possession in the service of Krishna just so that it doesn't mean, he doesn't have a matchbox, Vaisheshika Prabhu, obviously, but he is trying to engage this person in devotional service, that he has given this lighter for Krishna Seva. That was very nice. He said, I don't have money, I don't have anything, give me the lighter. So, Yatharam Upayujata. Yes, Mataji.
Nirbandha is bina bandhan ke, without
So,
bondage.
Nirbandha means you'll not be bound. If you engage that item as per the suitability, again, you will not be bound, because as soon as engagement come, Jnani is like, oh, I'm going to get bound. No, you'll not get bound. Krishna Sambandha. If you put
In
that
relation.
in the Sambandha of Krishna, if you put that item as per the suitability in the Sambandha of Krishna, in the Seva of Krishna, then Nirbandha, you are not in bondage at all. So that can be your family, that can be money, that can be fame, that can be, $100 million. All those things doesn't matter as far as you are sadhaka anasaktasya vishan. You are not personally attached to those items. Gurujan Prabhu said very clearly, unless we engage those items in the service of Krishna, we will start engaging in our service, and then we'll become sense gratifier. So there's a very fine line. So having possessions for the service of Krishna, or having possession in the name of Krishna, but using it for our sense gratification. So he said we have to be very, very careful. So for us, we are Vairagya, but for Krishna, Yukta Vairagya. Prabhupada said the example of that sannyasi, he will not touch money ever, and someone put a coin under his pillow and he could not sleep. And then he called his disciples, search, there's some money here. I'm getting agitated today, So they searched for it. There's a 1 rupee coin or something. And they took the coin away. The sannyasi said, very nice. And everyone was praising, wow, what a renunciate, what a renunciate. Prabhupada said, I'm exactly opposite. You give me in one hand, I extend my other hand as well. Again, not for personal gain. It's a facility so that we can serve Krishna better. So Prabhupada absolutely completely renounced from his personal perspective, but can use anything in Krishna's seva. Guru Maharaj always added that point. But not everyone can engage everything in the service of Krishna. That is also very expertise. Radhanath Maharaj can. We may not be able to. So then we should not put our head and hand there. No, I'm using for Krishna service. No. For us, there's very clear guidelines. We stay within the guidelines. Acharyas can engage any person, anything, any situation in Krishna seva. We will get distracted. As Prabhupada was asked, can I go and preach in nightclubs? Prabhupada said, sure. Make sure you come back. So we may not be able to engage those people in Krishna seva. But yeah, if you're advanced, you can go and do that. But many of us are not on that level. So Yuktam Vairagya Muchate, Mataji, last line.
That is the proper or the right. This is really renunciation.
So Uchate is known as Yukta Vairagya, proper renunciation. So everyone understood this? This is very important for all of us because we are in Grahastha, we are working outside, we have family, we have so many things. So sometimes we get too much sort of disgusted with this life and all this money, job, all these problems are there. But that's not the point. If you are dealing with the problems for the seva of Krishna, that's very nice. Prabhupada said, take anxiety for Krishna. One of Prabhupada's disciples, can't remember the name at this stage, Hansaduta Prabhu or someone else, he said to Prabhupada, when I came to Krishna consciousness, I thought all my anxieties will go. But now, 2 years in the movement, I'm in so much anxiety. Prabhupada said, that's very nice. When you came in, you have anxiety for the sense gratification. Now you have anxiety for Krishna seva. So now the anxiety is there, but the subject of anxiety has been changed. So now our anxiety is for Krishna. We have to build temple for Krishna. We are in anxiety. Paise kahan se aayenge? Where the money is going to come? Where the manpower is going to come? Who's going to build this part? Who's going to make this design and that design? How are we going to procure this cement for Krishna? Stone for Krishna? So the anxiety is there. How are you going to get permits from North Sydney Council? So anxieties are there, definitely, but the subject is changed. Before coming to Krishna, we had anxiety. So which new dress are you going to buy? Which new car? My neighbor has this TV. So which new TV I'm going to buy? Which jewelry I'm going to buy? Whom I'm going to show my dress in the next Diwali? Something like that. So we had anxieties. So now our anxieties are changed. I haven't read today. You're going to give class. I haven't read for the class. Anxiety is there. Pressure is there. Huh? So, but the subject is Krishna now, devotees, the service. So that anxiety is very nice. So that's why we should try to fight back nicely, thinking Krishna is arranging this for my purification, and yeah, keep going if it is in accordance with our guidelines. Okay, then we read few examples of Prabhupada. Will not read it again. I'll read this one line, very nice. This vow of rejecting anything which is not offered to Krishna is actual renunciation. So anything which is not offered or not offerable. Example is a simple example Prabhupada gave of meat. Someone said, "Can I offer meat to Krishna?" Prabhupada said, "No, meat you cannot offer." Huh? Prabhupada did say about alcohol, even if you are not able to quit alcohol. So when you're drinking alcohol, think this taste is also coming from Krishna. The source of alcohol and the taste of alcohol is also Krishna. So one day you will be able to quit. So anything which is not offered to Krishna, that we renounce, that we cannot use. And by such renunciation, one is able to satisfy the demand of his senses. Prabhupada said, if you only eat prasadam, your senses will be controlled. We only get different thoughts when we don't eat prasad. A nice conversation. I'll just read one line. In this age, people are not going to search out a saint in the forest. So the saints and sages have to come out to the big cities. Prabhupada says, why are you here? Why you're not in jungle? You're a renounced person. Why are you using Rolls Royce? Why you're going 5-star hotels? Prabhupada said, if I go to jungle, I can go, but you will not come in jungle for a press conference. So Prabhupada used all the aeroplanes, all the cars, all the whatever facilities were there, and devotees are using all the internet, electronic gadgets, but everything for the service of the Lord. And his Guru Maharaj himself, Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, established the principles of Yukta Vairagya, although the contemporary sannyasis that time will not meet with all these, big dignitaries. They will not wear the dresses which Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj sometimes wrote. They will not ride in the cars. They will walk. But Prabhupada said, if a car is available, why should I walk? But I'm not attached to the car. I can walk as well. But if the car and plane is available, I will catch the plane and go for preaching programs. Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj did the same thing. He wore some dresses which was sort of criticized by contemporary orthodox brahmanas and sannyasis, but he did not care. He arranged the things by which Krishna consciousness can be increased. Okay, last time I think we stopped here. It's a very important point. Just 2 slides on that, but Prabhupada has written something which is very practical. So let's read that. So this is the application of Yukta Vairagya. So Prabhupada says he encouraged the devotees to perform austerities so that not a penny was wasted. He used to write on the backs of envelopes and urged devotees to write letters rather than spending money on expensive phone calls. So this is a little line, but this is very nice for all of us. So Prabhupada never wasted any money. Although he was sort of billionaire of his time, he never wasted. One time he gave a check to his disciple and he said, you're going to Calcutta. He was in some other city, not in Calcutta, some other city. And he said, you're going to Calcutta. Can you go and deposit this check when you get down in Calcutta? He said, sure. So once he gave the check, he asked his disciples, so how are you going to deposit the check? He said, I'll get down from the train, I'll catch a rickshaw to the bank, and I'll deposit the check, and I'll come back and go to Mayapur. Prabhupada said, how much the rickshaw cost? And he said, 5 rupees. He took the check back. He said, I can post it in 25 paisa. Why should I spend 5 rupees? 2 lakh rupee check. And he's trying to save 4 rupees 75 paisa. He said, rickshaw will cost 5 rupees and the postage will cost 25 paisa. He said, give me the check back. So Prabhupada was very, very careful. He did not like devotees to waste money. So obviously this is for all of us. We may be owning that money right now, but even for 5 cents, 10 cents, we should be very careful because we are just the caretaker of the money. We are not the owner of the money. And one devotee was telling, if you misuse Krishna's money, especially after becoming devotees or as a sadhaka, I'm saying, not a pure devotee as yet, but you get actually, yeah, not looked upon by Krishna nicely. So make sure wherever possible, is reasonable to spend in Krishna's service, you spend. Otherwise, yeah, take that money back and put it again in the Krishna service. And for us, our life should be very, very simple, but Krishna's service should be first class. For Krishna's seva, spend good money. But for our purposes, usually devotees do other way. For our clothing, for our living standard, lot of money they spend. For Krishna, they have some hesitation in giving. So we should give to Radha Gopinath best possible things, best money, seva. But for us, very simple, very, very simple. And that's very conducive for our sadhana as well. Okay, and two things Prabhupada writing here, Yukta Vairagya principles must be under the guidance of a spiritual master. So we may not be able to understand many things, so we have to seek confirmation from our seniors. Is this a real Yukta Vairagya, or I'm just expanding my portfolio and I hardly visit the temple now? But Prabhu, I'm earning for Krishna. Once I have $10 million, I will give for the new temple. No, no, don't do that. We are not so advanced as yet. So our sadhana should never be compromised. And again, whatever we are doing, including earning money or any other thing, should be consulted by our seniors, if possible by Guru Maharaj. Once Prabhupada disciple was running an election for Prime Minister of Australia. He was running the election. He asked Prabhupada. He was in campaign and he did the campaign. And he lost it, and which he knew, but anyway, he did some preaching through that. He asked Prabhupada, should I go back again? Prabhupada said, no. Yeah, not worth it. I asked, long back again about jail preaching to a sannyasi actually, and he said no. Now, jail preaching is not a no. It's like your qualification is a no. So sannyasis know how to engage these things. So whenever we are going, out of the line, which we can go, but again, consult with your seniors and say, Prabhuji, Mataji, senior Matajis, can we do that? Is it still aligned as per my nature and as per in service of Krishna? And then they may say, yes, go ahead. Okay. We'll leave the other examples away. The spiritual master must not be carried away by the wealth and followers. This is also very, very important point, and Prabhupada expands on it. This is very nice. I'll read it all. This is Prabhupada words. Performing devotional service through one's wealth or followers is not an item of sadhana bhakti. Many times, many rich people, they hire some pujaris, and I've seen in Vrindavan, they pay a salary to that pujari, and pujari does the deity worship, which is very nice. But let's see who's doing the worship and who's going the benefit of that devotional service as per this paragraph. The spiritual master must never be carried away by an accumulation of wealth or a large number of followers, because this can be distraction if you're not advanced enough. A bona fide spiritual master will never become like that. But sometimes if a spiritual master is not properly authorized and only on his own initiative becomes a spiritual master, he may be carried away by an accumulation of wealth and large number of disciples. We have seen many so-called spiritual gurus in India. They have no guru. They are not in parampara. They become guru on their own. They have lots of followers, and many of them end up in jail later because they just can't handle that. They can't handle. They are not qualified for that. He's not a very high grade in devotional service. If a person is carried away by such achievements, then his devotional service becomes slackened. Because I have 50,000 followers. I have 300,000 followers. I'm such a big guru. I have connection with Prime Minister. I have connection with this and that. So guru starts living in that dream world. And then his personal devotional service gets slackened. So no matter how big you are, in Krishna's eye, unless you have love for him, you are not good enough. One should therefore strictly adhere to the principles of disciplic succession. So this is for a spiritual master, but it's also true for all of us. In our own way, we are leading some people, or we are leading some family. We are leading ourselves at least. So we should never think we have become big. So as soon as you think you are big, you are actually no one. So externally, you may have some followings, you may have some gyan, you may have some recognition in your community, but as soon as you think you are big now, in whatever, in whatever you're finished. My Guru Maharaj said, you have to win Krishna every moment. Not that I won Krishna yesterday and now I'm done. You got your degree yesterday, now you're done. In Krishna Seva, it doesn't work like that. You may have the best degree, you may have the best ashram, best sannyas. My Guru Maharaj said, you can have the biggest danta, you can have the most bright saffron cloth, biggest kanti mala, but that will not impress Krishna. So it's very, very clear, basically, very, very clear. So one time Keshav Maharaj was asked this question. I really liked his answer. He said, so what should be the goal of everyone's life? Something like that. It's an interview with Maharaj in manner or outside manner somewhere. So Maharaj responded very nicely. He laughed at this question and he said, so everyone should take sannyas. And then he laughed at it. He said, the goal of life is not to take sannyas. Goal of life is not to take sannyas. Goal of life is to become lover of Krishna. I'm paraphrasing the words, but the point Maharaj said, it's not like we are all teaching everyone to take sannyas. All the grahasthas should become sannyasis. No, that's not the point. The point is anyone, grahastha, vanaprastha, brahmachari, sannyasi, they should have best love for Krishna. So that is a goal of life. And we should be very, very clear. That's why we should never feel about other Vaishnavas that they are grahasthas, they are this and that. No, they can be very advanced devotees, very, very advanced devotees. I've heard my Guru Maharaj praising in front of me at least one grahastha very nicely. He said they are advanced. Actually, two grahasthas, sorry, two grahastha, both married, and he praised. He rarely praised like that, but he praised. He says they are very advanced in devotion. So very inspiring, very, very inspiring. So our external situations has nothing to do with the advancement in bhakti. Okay. And similarly, we should not just think that, oh, he's a sannyasi, he must be very, very advanced. He's very popular, he must be very advanced. Not really, not really. Maybe yes, maybe no. Popularity does not mean you're advanced. Speaking power does not mean you're advanced. You know, a lot of verses, that means you're advanced. Not necessarily, not necessarily. At the same time, we should not judge. He's knowing a lot of verses, so he must not be advanced. Not like that, huh? The point is, they can be separate from the advancement. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj could not even write his own name. Bhakti Siddhant Maharaj, the best scholar of his time, bowing down to him, Babaji Maharaj, please give me initiation, begging. He said, if you don't give me initiation, I will give up my life. So desperate, because his advancement is completely different than his externals. Okay, similarly, spiritual master may train disciples. This is for us as well in our own way, little way. May train the worship of the deity. This is certainly devotional service. His training is devotional service. However, the worship they subsequently perform is their own devotional service, not his. So I have my own deities. I train someone else. Prabhuji, can you do the deity worship? Yes, he or she can do, but then it becomes their service, not my service. I still have to do my seva. I still have to do my seva. If he does not understand this, his impetus for devotional service may slacken. So we have to be very, very careful. There's never like, I have become a leader now. I have become so and so now, so I can just delegate the responsibility to everyone else and I just relax. Just check my messages on WhatsApp. No, no. You can delegate and sometimes you should delegate, but that's not the point. The point is, as you grow up in that ladder, in the spiritual ladder, I mean, you have to take bigger responsibility. So for taking a higher responsibility, you delegate some other responsibilities to other new people so that they can also engage in devotional service. The point is not to get out of the seva. The point is to engage others in seva, and for ourselves, we take a higher responsibility. So it's never like today is a Sunday, आज day off है बहुत भक्ति कर ली जैसे बस एग्जाम कर ले, next week is just going out. If we have that bhav, maybe not so nice, huh? Exam is done, it's a pressure, I understand, assignment is a pressure, understand, but the point is here is, what is the next step now? We should always be planning. Even now you should plan. Bhakti Shastri is going to finish in 4 weeks time. What I'm going to do next, what service I'm going to do next. You should have plan right now. You may fail in that plan. Make plan. It's never getting out of. Bhakti Samarth Maharaj said very nicely in one class. Really liked it. He says, sometime in Janmashtami, you have to push yourself a lot. We agree with that. Everyone has to push, and 2-3 days just goes like a mad person, which is fine. So he's saying from a very intense devotional service, you do little less intense devotional service next week, huh? After Janmashtami week. Huh? That's understood. But it's not zero devotional service. Huh? So it should be from very intense to less intense, then intense again for Radhastami, then low intensity, then again in Kartik, you know. So we can go up and down like that. All the bodies need relaxation, some household work needs to be done, and some other things needs to be attended. That's fine, but not like relaxing, ho gaya. That's not very nice attitude. Huh? Devotees always engaged. Yeah, from high intensity, you can go down to low intensity, huh? Because we all need some relaxation. You can go out with your friends and just discuss some nice Krishna Katha, engage in kirtan, go for a walk with devotees, those sort of things. But not like coming to zero and definitely not going to minuses. A wealthy person may give large donation to build a huge temple. This is certainly devotional service. However, he should not think that the subsequent activities performed therein, worshipping the deity, offering prasadam, etc., are his devotional service. If he becomes carried away by this misconception, his impetus for devotional service will slacken. So many temples in India, especially, are going on like that. Every month they pay a salary of 10,000, 15,000 to the pujari. They arrange for the bhoga, and the Sethji is somewhere else in the city. Just nicely running his businesses. And yeah, again, he may be a very good devotee, but the point is he should not compromise in his personal seva as well. Okay, now Rupa Goswami explains this very famous Falgu Vairagya. Now, in this chapter, we read three types of Vairagya. So, first one, which we already read, was Yukta Vairagya. Second, we are seeing on the screen Falgu Vairagya. And the third one, which is explained by Prabhupada as well, is called Markat Vairagya. So, Yukta Vairagya, we already understood. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe, Yukta Vairagya Muchate. So that's the one, Yukta Vairagya. Second is Falgu Vairagya. Third is Markat Vairagya. I'll explain Markat first, then you'll understand Falgu better. So Markat Vairagya, Prabhupada called it monkey renunciation. So monkey externally is vegetarian, he lives on the tree, doesn't wear any clothes, lives in the jungle. So externally speaking, monkey looks very renounced. But Prabhupada says he has a station of so many she monkeys. Huh? So although externally someone may look like a renunciate, but internally he's very, very attached. In Bhagavad Gita, there's a term used for this. Anyone remembers? Third chapter. So internally he's very attached. Externally he's showing renunciation. Jai Dharma Prabhu. Mithyachara sa uchate. Huh? So we should also never become mithyachari. Huh? Mithyachari means we are cheating the world. There are so-called many sadhus. And someone was saying, who make like lecturing or some other similar things like a pesha, like a livelihood. They earn like crores of rupees. So they bring bad name to saffron. They bring bad name to saffron. So they are called mithyachari. They are wicked people. A devotee is never wicked. Wicked means I'm cheating you knowingly. I'm teaching. But devotees are weak. Weak means sometimes they succumb to sense gratification. That's their weakness. But then they repent. I shouldn't have been involved in this one. I wasted my time. I shouldn't have gone there. I shouldn't have done shopping here and there like that. So sometimes they are weak, but devotees are never wicked. Huh? So we should also make sure we are not wicked, especially when we go in front of Guru or senior Vaishnavas. We should try to discuss our problems, our weaknesses, and then they will help us to overcome them. But devotee is never wicked. Never try to establish yourself something which you are not. Radhanath Maharaj is very clear on that. Very, very clear on that. He is very pakka. Simplicity. Simplicity is Vaishnavism. No show off, no wickedness. Weaknesses, okay, because we are all on the journey. Sripala Prabhu called us WIP, work in progress. So we are all work in progress. So that is okay. And we should not pinpoint each other's weaknesses. I know, Prabhuji, you have this weakness. No, that becomes a Vaishnava Prad. That is between this person and his Guru Maharaj and Krishna. But we are trying to overcome our weaknesses and we're working on it. Okay, so Markat Vairagya is, he's very much attached to the sense objects, but externally he make a show of, I am very Vairagi. Falgu Vairagya is different to Markat Vairagya. Falgu Vairagya means he is a Vairagi, but he does not really understand the definition of Vairagya. Like we gave the example of a sannyasi. If he had 1 rupee, he could have engaged in the service of Krishna. There's nothing to run away from money because money, Lakshmi is for the service of Narayan. So if Lakshmi is engaged in the service of Narayan, Narayan is happy, Lakshmi is happy. You don't have to, quit those things. So Falgu Vairagya means person who does not understand how to utilize those things and they renounce it. You understand the difference now? So Markat Vairagya, just a show off. Internally, you are thinking about money and sense objects. Falgu Vairagya, you don't understand. You quit many things. You do renunciation of many things, but you don't really understand. Actually, you could use those things. You can use your fame in the service of Krishna. George Harrison, very famous person. He used his fame to serve Krishna. That was very nice. Prabhupada appreciated him so much. So many celebrities, if they become devotees, they can use their name and fame for the service of Lord. So why should we quit them? No, we're not going to talk to them. Chaitanya Prabhu was giving this example of some orthodox people say we should not go on internet. There's so much rubbish there. But Prabhu said, if you don't go on internet, how are you going to preach? We're using internet for the preaching purposes. If we don't go, others will come. And then they will actually spoil the mind. So we have to make our presence on internet so that we can reach many people. So it is called Yukta Vairagya. But if someone, maybe a devotee, but if he quits this sort of platform for preaching, for example, this is called Falgu Vairagya. You don't understand how you can utilize that thing in service of the Lords. And Markat Vairagya means be dying to get name and fame, but showing no. प्रभु आप तो बहुत अच्छे हैं नहीं प्रभु जी but in the mind we are thinking प्रभु more you are the only one who praises me in the whole temple so please glorify me more. So that is called Markat Vairagya. Okay, I'll read the definition given by Rupa Goswami. On the other hand, one who rejects everything without knowledge of its relationship with Krishna is not as complete in his renunciation. Prapanchikayatya Buddhya Hari Sambandha Vastunah, the Vastu which is Sambandha with Krishna Sambandha, if you remember, Mokshabhi Parityago Vairagyam Falgu Kathyate. So that type of Vairagya is called Falgu Vairagya. Rejecting something which could be used in Krishna's service is Falgu Vairagya. False renunciation, this type of renunciation hinders the development of bhakti. Now, how this word has come into existence, there's a little pastime from Ramayana, which I heard. I'll just quickly say. Mother Sita was in the forest. Ramchandji is in exile at this stage. So Mother Sita was sitting on the bank of a river, and Sri Ram and Lakshman was getting ready to do Pindadan to the Dasharat Maharaj. And that was the day, and we have to arrange, quite a few paraphernalia. So Ram and Lakshman had gone to arrange all those puja samagri by which they can offer the Pindadan to Maharaj Dashrath, who was passed away by now. So they were arranging that, they were taking bath and all that. Sita Maya was just sitting on the bank of the river. And at that time, what happened? Okay, in those days, ancestors used to personally come and accept the Pindadan. So nowadays we give Pindadan to a kawa, to a crow, and we say, okay, my dear crow, you carry this to our Pitras, to Arima, and Arima will give in Pitraloka to those Pitras. But those days, Pitras used to come personally and accept the Pindadanam in their hand, which is made of till and rice and all that. Anyway, so the time the Muhurat came, and Dashrath Maharaj appeared in front of Sita Maya, and he said, where's my Pinda? And Sita Maya said, my dear father, Ram, my Prabhu and Lakshman Bhaiya has gone to arrange the paraphernalia. They will be here soon, and then they will do the proper Pinda. And Dashrath said, no, I'm very hungry. You must give me now. Sita said, I don't have anything. What can I give you? Dashrath said, no, I'm very hungry. Give me. Sita said, I'm sorry, but you just have to wait. My Prabhuji is just coming with all the samagri. Dashrath said, just give me something. You can give me the pinda of the sand on which you are sitting. So now Dashrath was very desperate. He's asking again and again to Sita. So Sita made pinda of the sand on which she is sitting. She's on the bank of a river. A lot of sand is there. She said the sand, pinda of sand, and then she offered to Dashrath. And she had 5 witnesses. Now, those days, although Sita is obviously completely truthful, but even the witnesses were there. So the river was witness, Ashwatha tree was witness, there was some Brahman was witness, and there were 5 witnesses were there. Anyway, Dashrath accepted, Dashrath was happy, and he went away. When Ram and Lakshman came back, so Sita Mata told the whole story, and Ram could not believe How come, Dashrath came, you are saying he was desperate, you gave the pinda of sand, he accepted. Sita said, no, I'm telling the truth. And there are 5 witnesses. So Ram said, call your witnesses. So it says, only one person came on the side of Mother Sita, 4 did not come. So Mother Sita cursed, and this all description is there. I can't remember, to be very honest. So she cursed 4 people, and Falgu River, on which bank Sita Mata was sitting, was one of them. And Mother Sita said, you're not doing your dharma properly. So you're a river. So your water should dry up. So from that day, this river's water has dried up. Now what you see, this is actual Falgu River actually. This is Bihar. I've taken picture from internet, obviously. And this river is just a riverbed. There's no water because of the curse of Mother Sita. Because the river lied actually. If you know a truth, you do not present, you're also a liar. So Mother Sita cursed the river, and 4 other people also she cursed. Anyway, so from there the word comes Falgu, means you don't understand. You're a river, that's called Falgu river. There's no river there, but it's Falgu. Falgu means, you don't understand. So river is not a proper river, basically. So that's where the word comes from. Okay, Bhanu Maharaj also translated this verse. Rejection of things related to Lord by persons desiring liberation who thinks that these things are simply material objects is called useless. Falgu Vairagya. Basically, Falgu is a useless Vairagya. Use those things. Use internet. Use electronic gadget. Use the car. Prabhupada was criticized of crossing the oceans. Actually, ideally speaking, as per the Sannyas Dharma, Orthodox Sannyas Dharma, a sannyasi should never cross the ocean. It's written actually. There's a book by Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, The Duties of Sannyasis. In that book, it's clearly written a sannyasi should not cross the ocean. Prabhupada crossed the ocean. Now, Prabhupada broke the vows of sannyas? No. He became a better sannyasi. He became Parivijikacharya. So, anytime again the higher purpose is there, then you can break some little vows. Prabhupada arranged the marriages of his own disciples. Does a sannyasi should do it? Sannyasi should become a pujari for a marriage ceremony? No. But our Prabhupada and other sannyasi, they are doing it. For what? Because for the disciples of Prabhupada, Prabhupada was everything. For any problem, they will go to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada tried to help them in every single possible way. Once Prabhupada said, my disciples don't treat me like a Prabhupada, they treat me like Problempad. Problempad means for every problem, they come to me. And I have to resolve their problem. Because there was a relation of father and children. So Prabhupada literally treated them like their own sons and daughters, and they treated Prabhupada as their own fathers. So Prabhupada was everything. So Prabhupada arranged marriage ceremony. Prabhupada arranged everything, what a normal sannyasi may not be able to do. He allowed ladies to stay in the ashram, and he was criticized for that. He was criticized for so many people by his own God brothers and sisters as well, and by other Brahmanas. But Prabhupada did not care actually. Prabhupada did not care. He used every single thing given by Krishna to him in the service of the Lord. So that's why he became actually a greater devotee by doing those things, while others were doing Falgu Vairagya that time. Prabhupada gives the example of 6 Goswamis. Anyone would like to sing? Charumata, she loves Goswami Ashtak. She asked me to do it. I'm not doing it. What to do? So much else to do. You can sing, Mata. Don't read. Sing, please. We can sing it together, actually. A couple of us. Mataji's voice is very nice many times.
So which is this verse?
Yes, Mata. Simple one.
त्याक्त्वा तूर्णमशेषमण्डलपति श्रेणीं सदा तुच्छवत् भूत्वा भूत्वा दीनगणेश कौ करुणया कौपीनकण्ठश्रितौ गोपी भावरसामृताब्धलहरी कल्लोळमग्नौ मुहुर् वन्दे रूप सनातनौ रघुयुगौ श्रीजीवगोपालकौ वन्दे रूपसनातनौ रघुयुगौ श्रीजीवगोपालकौ.
Thank you, Mata. Very nice. Someone else can read the translation? Anyone?
I offer my respectful obeisance unto the six Goswami, namely Shri Rupa Goswami, Shri Sanatana Goswami, Shri Raghunath Bhatt Goswami, Shri Raghunath Das Goswami, Shri Jiva Goswami, and Shri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, who quit of all association of aristocracy as insignificant, in order to deliver the poor conditioned souls. They accepted loincloth, treating themselves as mannequins, but they were always merged in the aesthetic ocean of Gopi's love for Krishna and bathed always and repeatedly in waves of that ocean.
So Tyaktva Turnim Ashesh Mandalpati. They were Mandalpati. Mandalpati is not like housepati or flatpati. Mandalpati. They were in charge of the big Rajya, big kingdom. Huh? So nowadays we own a house and we feel very proud of it. Oh, mortgage khatam ho gaya. They were Ashesh Mandalpati. Huh? You look from the eyes, wherever your eyes can see, even further than that, they were the owners. Huh? Finance minister, home minister, big post. Tyaktva Turnam, Tyaktva. They quit everything like a insignificant grass. Ashish, Sada Tuchva. Tuchva means chhod diya. We cannot even quit our little possessions these days. We are so much attached. When Sannyasi was giving the class, he was saying, um, in olden days, devotees were attached. Okay, people were attached to Krishna, Bhagwan. Nowadays, we are attached to our attachee. Attachee से attachment है. Attachee means possession. Huh? Suitcase. Huh? We are so much attached to our attachee. So we should not have attachment to attachee. We should have attachment to Krishna or Krishna Seva. Attachee will not take us anywhere. In Hindi they say, no, पैसा इंसान को ऊपर ले जा सकता है लेकिन इंसान पैसे को ऊपर नहीं ले जा सकता है. Vijay Gopi Mata ji, money can't take you up. If you have a lot of money, people will kill you for that. But you cannot take money up. Huh? So use money nicely and don't go after so much money. Huh? Yeah, we all need some money for some things. But yeah, remember that पैसा आपको ऊपर ले जा सकता है. The more money you have, you are in targets. They will call you. So बहुत पैसा कमा रहा है 10 खोखा भेज देना. Some bhai will call you and say, give me 10 crore just because you are earning a lot of money. And the person will say, Hare, I am working hard, I am earning money, why should I give you? Then they will shoot you. What was his name? Gulshan Kumar? Huh? He didn't give this hafta, he was shot. Hundreds of bullets were on his body because he did not pay their money. Anyway, I know this much and maybe they're more complexity. The point here is money can take you up. Huh? So money should be used in Krishna's seva, otherwise keep it simple. Don't go after too much. Look at these famous examples. Tyakta Turnam Ashesh Mandalpati Shrenim Tada Tuchhivat. Tuchhata Bharat Maharaj. He said he left his kingdom. Like when I say kingdom, the whole Prithvipati. Bharat Maharaj, 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. When he says he was young, he was very beautiful, he had beautiful queens, he had unlimited treasury, unlimited army, everything. He quit like a person quits the stool. Once you pass the stool, it's written in Bhagavatam actually, this analogy. You never look back. Should I flush or not flush? Maybe I should save some. Maybe I should take a photo or something. You never turn back. You just flush and move on. Huh? So Maharaj Bharat quit everything like that. Now, we can just imagine how much attachment they had for Krishna. And where is our attachment? Our attachment is mostly for our attachees. This is Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, all the other Swamis. But when they were asked to build the temples for Krishna, which was given instruction by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they did not hesitate. When Mr. Kapoor came to Sanatana Goswami and said, how can I serve you? Sanatana Goswami said, I don't need any seva, but for Madan Mohan, if you like, you can make a temple. Huh? And Mr. Kapoor, after the salt incident, made the biggest temple in Vrindavan of that time. Even now, today, Madan Mohan temple is the biggest one. You can see the aerial view. It's like such a big, magnificent mandir. So Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Govindji Mandir, he did not hesitate with Mansingh. Mansingh make the temple, no problem. And temples were made, sites were excavated because they needed money for all these things. So for themselves, they lived under a tree. It said every day they lived under a different tree. Someone was saying, externally speaking, because they were showing the renunciation. But some other Acharya says they were living under a different tree, not because they were renounced. They were renounced, no doubt about it. But they, when they sleep under a different tree, in their meditation, they could see the Leela which Krishna has performed under that tree. So they were going to different trees to sleep under so that they can see that Leela and they can experience the joy of Krishna and his devotees' reciprocation in that spot. So that is the meaning of true renunciation. So the renunciation is not when we start living in a tree. If that comes, no problem. But their sleeping under a different tree every night was very, very deep, actually, very, very deep. Okay, Charumata, you want to add something? Because some is stuck.
Prabhu, you're talking about renunciation. I was just reminded of His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrit Swami Maharaj's sannyas ceremony, and His Holiness Jananand Maharaj said that he has seen poor people wanting to become bankers, but he's never seen beggars wanting to become bankers, but he's never seen bankers wanting to become a beggar. So just another example of this.
Very nice, very nice. He was a banker, if you didn't know. Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj, before coming to Krishna consciousness, he was a big banker and he was working in Calcutta. Just to add one line here, he was earning very good salary. He was the youngest executive in his bank, in a big multinational bank, and he will come from Calcutta to Bombay every weekend in flight. And he says he would spend at least 60 to 70% of his salary on flights because there was no temple or devotee association in Calcutta at that time. So as soon as he got this Krishna consciousness from Mumbai or Bombay that time, he started flying. He said, I have to have devotee association, and he would get the flight. That time, if you remember, if you have flown in those days, was very, very, one ticket was like 10,000 rupees or something in those days. And 10,000 rupees was a lot. But Maharaj will go every weekend to Bombay. Thank you, Mataji, for reminding that one. I've seen beggars becoming bankers, but not banker becoming a beggar. And sannyasi means beggar. Thank you. Yeah, so this is called true renunciation, and we have live examples amongst us. Okay, now Prabhupada talks about this vegetarianism and non-violence. Prabhupada says a person who has become a devotee automatically gets all these good qualities, not other way. Sometimes they say you have to become non-violent, you have to become vegetarian, you have to have this and that. Then you can practice devotional service, but it's not that way. An example given is of Mragari. Mragari was a very cruel hunter. I'm not going to full story here. This is from Iskanda Puran, which is mentioned in Chaitanya and Charitamrita as well. So he was a very cruel hunter. But once he became devotee, automatically the quality of non-violence, vegetarianism, everything else came. Not other way. Prabhupada gave the example of a kabutar, a pigeon. He said pigeon is also vegetarian. So what? So vegetarians are not like very high people. Prabhupada also mentioned the four regulative principles makes a person human, not a devotee. So if you're following four regs, like I'm vegetarian and I don't smoke or drink and blah, 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 that's all right. That's just a human qualification. That's not a devotion. When you chant Hare Krishna, when you serve Krishna, when you serve devotees, then you become a devotee or you start walking on the path of devotion. So not just by following regs, you become a devotee, you become human by that. Okay, Prabhupada writes, Yama, which means the restraints. That's why we have Yam Raj. So Yama includes activity like ahimsa, non-violence, brahmacharya, celibacy, satyam, truthfulness, etc. These restraints are not items of sadhana bhakti because they do not impel devotion to manifest in the heart. On the contrary, practice of devotional service impels them to manifest. Srila Prabhupada writes, a vegetarian is not necessarily a devotee, nor is a non-violent person. But a devotee is automatically both vegetarian and non-violent. We must conclude, therefore, vegetarianism and non-violence is not the cause of devotion or a charity or vows or penances. So someone can be a big donor, may not be a devotee. So he is living in goodness, that's nice. He may not be a devotee and he may never become a devotee. I know few families at least, they're very nice. They organize these programs once in a year with a lot of Shraddha, but they never progress in devotional life. They are where they were like 20 years ago. Very nice people, very sattvic people. They don't even take onion garlic and all those things, but their Shraddha is limited, which is nice, but not expanding because they're not adopting the principles with heart. And they think they are doing very nice actually. Okay, now this is the last topic which Prabhupada explains, Rupa Goswami explains, and Prabhupada explains. Ekangi Bhakti and Bahuanga Bhakti. Ekangi Bhakti means Ek Anga Bhakti, you can perform one Anga of Bhakti, or Bahuangi Bhakti means you can perform many limbs of devotion service. So here Prabhupada touches the point of Navvidha Bhakti, which is given by Prahlad Maharaj in Srimad Bhagavatam. So just quickly say, so there are 9 types of bhakti, which everyone knows. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Mandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. In the examples given of Parikshit as a listener, doing Shravanam, Kirtanam by Shukadev Goswami. Prahlad is the topmost in Vishnu Smaranam. Lakshmi Devi in Padasevanam, Prathu Maharaj in Archanam. He did the best Archana. Vandanam is our Akrura. Dasyam, we have Hanumanji, Arjun as Sakhyam, and Bali Maharaj as Atmanivedan. So Prabhupada mentions you can perform all of them, or you can perform even one of them nicely, sincerely, and you can go back to Godhead. And then he gives the example of one person who would perform all the angas of bhakti very, very nicely. Who was that?
Ambrish Maharaj.
Thank you, Mohit Prabhuji. Ambarish Maharaj. So a famous example, he performed all the 9 angas of bhakti very, very nicely. Generally speaking, most of us performs 4 to 5 angas of bhakti, which is very nice. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. We do Pad Sevanam, Archanam, and Vandanam as well. Other ones are pretty high. But yeah, so if we perform these principles of bhakti nicely, which Prabhupada very nicely introduced in the morning program, evening program, and in festivals and all that, we can advance in devotional life very fast. Okay, the famous verse of Ambarish Maharaj. I'll just read very quickly the first one at least. Love this verse. Savai Manah Krishna Padar Vindeyor Vachansi Vaikuntha Gunan Varnane Karaur Harer Mandir Marjanadishu Shrutin Chakara Achit Sat Kathodaye. So man Krishna laga diya Krishna Padar Vindeyor. So his mind was completely engaged in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord. Vachansi. Vachansi means vacha, bolna, speaking. Vaikuntha is the name of Krishna. Gunanu Varnane. So he was doing Guno ka Varnan of Vaikuntha, of Krishna, through his vacha, through his speaking power. We also speak, many times we speak rubbish. So his speaking power is very nice. We should glorify Krishna or chant Hare Krishna or engage in the service of the Lord. Karav means hands. Harer Mandir, Hari ka Mandir, Marjan means cleaning. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally was cleaning the temple of the Lord. We know that. So we should never think, oh, cleaning is a very little seva. Cleaning is a very big seva. Very, very big seva. It says, whoever washes the pots of Krishna cleans his heart directly. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said that. So we should never hesitate in the temple at least of taking any seva as a small or big seva. A pujari seva, I'm sorry to say, if his mind is not in Krishna seva, may not be as absorbed as a pot washer for Krishna. So that then it becomes actually a higher seva. So it depends on your absorption, not so-called how clean you are in the service. If you are very dirty while doing Krishna seva, actually it's very nice. You should be very proud actually. Thank you, Krishna, for giving me this opportunity. By that I can be absorbed. Sometimes kitchen services can be very absorbing actually. So they're very, very nice. Not the other services are not nice. But the point here is absorption is the key. It's not like you're a big preacher, you're a big kirtanier, you're a big pujari, or you're a big whatever. The point is how absorbed you are in Krishna Seva. And with your purity, you can make others absorb as well. Some singers come and they sing. You just forget the word for that 2 hours. That's very nice. Some preachers come and they do so nice Krishna Katha. You just get lost in that Krishna's pastime. So that's very nice. It's the absorption which matters, not the higher or lower service. Okay. Mukunda Lingalaya Darshan. Darshan is from eyes. He was doing darshan of Mukunda Linga, the vigraha of Krishna. Tad Bhratya Gatra Sparshange Sangam. So he was doing a sparsh from his hand. Tad Bhratya. Bhratya means the servants of Krishna. So he was touching the feet of the servants of Krishna. Grahanam. Grahanam means smelling. He was using his spelling for what? Tad pada saroj saurabhe. So that includes tulsi leaf and also includes the flowers, which is offered to Krishna. And when flowers come in the arti, some devotees really smell nicely. They'll just go long smell. So nice to see them actually. They have interest. Some brahmacharis just go really long smell. So that means they really respect that anga of bhakti. That's very nice. Srimad Tulsiya Rasanam. So Tulsiya Rasana means jiva, means tongue. From their tongue, he was tasting the tulsi leaf or Krishna Prasad. Padav Hare Kshetra. Padanusarpane. So Padav means legs. He was using his legs for what purpose? Hari Kshetra. Hari Kshetra. So like you're going to Vrindavan, Mayapur, or even our temple. So when you're using your pad, you're using your legs for that purpose. That's pad sevana. Shiro Hrishikesh Padabhivandane. Shiro means sir. His head was bowing down by looking at Krishna's deity form. Kaman Chadase Natu Kama Kamya. His every desire he was fulfilling, not Kama Kami, because not he was like a desirer of his desires, rather he desired everything for the satisfaction of the Lord. Yatha Uttam Shloke Janashraya Rati. He had prema, intense affection for Krishna. And for that, he fulfilled his spiritual desires. So practically, he used everything for the service of Lord. And he's so famous. His example keep coming, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, NOD, because he is such a role model, such an inspiring role model. So we should also try to follow in the footsteps of Ambarish Maharaj and do the best. Last thing, different processes of devotional service. This is by Prabhupada. Maybe someone else can read. This is the last slide of this chapter. Who has not read today? Anyone?
I can read.
Yes, Mataji.
If we are unable to execute all the different items of devotional service, we must try to execute at least one of them, as exemplified by previous acharyas. If we are engaged in the execution of all the items of devotional service, as was Maharaj Ambarish, then the perfection of devotional service is guaranteed from each one of these items. With the first complete engagement, one becomes automatically detached from material contamination, and liberation becomes the maidservant of the devotee. This idea is confirmed by Virumangala Thakur. If one develops unalloyed devotion to the Lord, liberation will follow the devotee as his maidservant. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So the first complete engagement, one becomes automatically detached. So if you serve Krishna, you become detached from the material world automatically. You don't have to say no to the matters. It just automatically happens. So my Guru Maharaj used to say, always keep yourself engaged in Krishna Seva. Then Maya will not touch you. So that's a very simple thing, difficult to follow. But the point is, if you are engaged in Krishna Seva, Maya has no place in our life. So we don't have to just sit and contemplate. You also gave an example of a famous Indian leader, I'll not say the name, who was testing his celibacy skills actually. So it's not needed actually. It's not needed. The point is you engage every single sense, every single skill, every single facility given by Krishna in Krishna Seva, and then there is no testing needed. It's automatically successful. Okay, we'll move to the next part of our discussion, which is Raganuga Bhakti. But before I jump in there, any questions or comments on Yukta Vairagya? It's a very nice chapter. Try to read it. Prabhupada verses, not very big. It's very nice, beautifully written. I was going through myself. There's so many nice things I wanted to add, but just a little lack of time here. But yeah, please read and try to apply this very beautiful principle. For us, very simple. For Krishna, the best. Okay, let's move on. Hope you have no questions on this topic. Now, before I get inside it, there is a disclaimer. This is given by Bhanu Maharaj, Bhurijan Prabhu, and other writers. Dhanurdhar Maharaj. I've just taken one of them, also written in CC Madhya 22, 148 to 153. Now, this is the editorial mistake. A mistake by Prabhupada disciples. This is fine, but it has been acknowledged. So I'm also acknowledging that. Although the term Raganuga Bhakti has been used throughout the chapter, we're talking chapter 15 now, it is an editorial mistake and should read Ragatmika Bhakti. And I'll explain you the reason behind it as clearly understood from Srila Prabhupada's translation and purpose to CC Madhya 22, 148 to 153. We'll talk about everything, but the point here is in this chapter, there's an editorial mistake by his early disciples because they just didn't know all these things. So they made a mistake by translating Ragatmika as Raganuga, which is not correct for chapter 15. And I'll explain you what the differences is. There are two different terms, two different meanings. And Prabhupada personally wrote the translation in CC Madhya, which later was found out. So if you read in the book, I have not read the old book, to be honest. So if they're still using the term Raganuga in chapter 15, most of the places it may not be correct. That should be read as Ragatmika Bhakti. And you can read in Bhanu Maharaj, Dhanurdhar Maharaj books, everywhere it's written. So I've also converted that term and then I'm explaining. Okay. Now, this is our overview of NOT. Just to rewind it because it's been a while since we looked at it. So first we read the first wave where introduction and 6 characteristics of devotional service and all that we read. Second wave, which we are reading right now, it deals with sadhana bhakti. Now, within sadhana bhakti, there are two types, which is Vaidhi sadhana bhakti and Raga Nuga sadhana bhakti. Now, I'm clear on that. Raga Nuga sadhana bhakti. I'll explain that. Many times we have this misunderstanding. Raga Nuga is a spontaneous, like a platform of prema or bhava. No, it's not. Raga Nuga is also a part of sadhana bhakti. We'll talk about it. That's where we are here. Now, we have already discussed, if you see, I'm looking at the topics, chapter 2 to chapter 14, we have finished that. So we have finished the first part of first part of sadhana bhakti, which belongs to Vaidhi bhakti. Now we are entering still in sadhana bhakti, but in Raganuga bhakti. Now, 2 chapters will explain it. Now, chapter 15 will 90% explain about Ragatmika bhakti, which will start soon. And chapter 16 will deal with Raganuga bhakti. But they both have similar concepts. That's why they put it together in one group. So Raganuga Bhakti, and then obviously third wave is Bhava Bhakti, where there are two chapters, 17 and 18, and last fourth wave is Prema Bhakti. So we have around how many chapters to go? 5 more chapters to go, and we want to finish on 30th of April, so should be fine. Let's see how we go. Okay, so everyone is clear. So we are in this section, which is within sadhana bhakti called Raganuga Bhakti. And the chapter here, which we are dealing right now, chapter 15 will deal with Ragatmika Bhakti. Let's read some definitions and some explanations. If you remember this chart, 3 types of pure devotional service, sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, prema bhakti. We are still in sadhana bhakti, but the second part of sadhana bhakti. So we are still in the first part in this chart, Kleshagni and Shubhada. Okay, there are 2 divisions of sadhana bhakti, Vaidhi and Raganuga bhakti. Now we read all that. What's the basic difference? Anyone remembers from chapter 2? What's the difference between Vaidhi sadhana bhakti and Raganuga sadhana bhakti?
Prabhuji?
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I mean, from just what I've understood, just by example, like the regulated devotional service. So it's more to do with following the instructions under the spiritual master. So, and that cannot be like, you cannot not abide it. Like you have to be very, you cannot refuse that. So it's very strict, and very like, so being very regulated in following, but not necessarily you are following you're doing the devotional practice under the instructions of the spiritual master, following the regulatory principles. But then once you follow that, by following those devotional, the regulated practice and following the regulated principle, then you can slowly the spontaneous bhakti becomes a natural process.
Yeah. Thank you, Mata. So that's the difference. So when we're following the Vidhi Vidhan, given by our seniors. Although our mind may say no, but your intelligence will say no, yes. Today is Ekadashi, I have to follow Ekadashi. I have to chant my rounds. So we are doing just as a matter of duty in the very beginning. But later on, what happens, you start getting the taste. Simple example is given: a little boy who's growing up. Initially, he is just loves the milk because he is sustaining on the milk, milk, milk. When he becomes, a certain age, mother starts giving roti. He doesn't like roti. He says, milk, milk, milk. Mother, give me milk, give me milk. But later on, when he gets the taste of roti, paratha, aloo paratha, this paratha, that paratha, he only, and mama has to say, beta, milk bhi peena hai. You have to take some milk as well, because milk is also needed. So similarly, initially, we may not have enough taste for Krishna Seva, but slowly when we practice and become purified, then we start having this spontaneous attraction, which is not coming by the instruction of the Shastra or spiritual master. It is spontaneous. A simple example is many devotees get up 3 o'clock in the morning without any alarm clock, every day without fail for years and years and years. There's so many examples like that. They don't need alarm clock for that. Even if they go to bed at 1 o'clock, they will still get up at 3. And they're happy with that. They're not the examples of insomnia. They're not getting sleep. No. They get up to serve Krishna, Just one example. There are many more. The point is, Raganuga is a very spontaneous platform, but it still falls under the sadhana bhakti. We'll explain that.
Prabhuji?
Yes.
Hare Krishna. So I just wanted to add that, yeah, like you mentioned about the morning program, once you are, like every day you are attending the Mangal Aarti, but that's because it's something you feel you need to do it because, to follow or you're, chanting 16 rounds, you have to do it. But once it's, uh, you remember not to do 16 round, but you remember to do it like everywhere you are going for you're everywhere you are like traveling, you are just chanting in your mind or you just remembering Krishna.
Yes.
That's like more natural. And if you're doing Aarti, you see that, or maybe sometimes Krishna's garland is not or there properly, or mukut is not fitted properly, or you need to change the dress because or something small things like that you remember. So that's more natural. That's more like Raganuga Bhakti.
Absolutely. Just on that example, Mataji, I remember His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, and he said one very nice thing. He said, like you're saying now, while you're doing worshipping the deity, you'll see, oh, maybe Mala is not nice, maybe the Murli is not nice, or maybe, oh, I forgot that one, this and that. So Maharaj said very nicely, he said, details is a sign of advancement. When you go in detail, for example, deity worship here is a sign of advancement. I went to a devotee's house many years ago. Nice person. He picked up the deities. We were just carrying the deity from one room to another room. He picked up from the face of the deity. I said, Prabhu, kya kar rahe hai? He was a very nice person. It's just don't know. I said, Prabhu, you're putting your hand on top of Krishna's eyes. And he realized immediately. And he grabbed the deity from the feet. Then, So many, many nice people, but slowly they get into, no, this is Krishna, this is Krishna's eyes. It's not a statue's eyes. You can just grab the deity from the face. Usually in India, we just grab it. Maharaj said, when you're going detail, that means you're advancing. So you can see in temple, there are many devotees. They're like so detailed about Krishna's seva. And that's very nice, actually. That's very nice because they have this feeling that Krishna should get the best seva. You cannot skip and take shortcuts for Krishna seva. No, they will not allow you. Whether it's Corona, I'm just remembering Ghanshyam Prabhu, for example. He made sure Radha Gopinath dresses were changed on time properly. The garlands were made on time. There was so much struggles to make those garlands, but Prabhu made sure deities are worshipped exactly as non-Corona Kal. No difference. He made sure that festival happened in the temple. What's Jagannath Puri festival happened, and devotees made the whole replica of Jagannath Puri. It takes like, I don't know how many days. There were roasters who will go in, who will go out. But Prabhu made sure Radha Gopinath's service is not compromised in any way. In any way. And he's just, inspiring others and not pushing others, inspiring others to bring their level up and up and up and up. You can see the photos of Radha Gopinath many, many years ago, and then you see now they look so fresh, so young. They're what, 53 years old, if I'm not wrong, in this temple. They just look, 16-year-old, 15-year-old boy. So fresh. And devotees, you see so many, garland Matajis are here. They make garland and jewelry and dressing, and so many devotees are involved. It's just not one team. There are many, many teams are involved, obviously, and all glories to all of them. They do so nice seva, so nice seva. But you see, the leader is like that. He's inspiring everyone to come up in the standard. Very nice. Thank you, Mataji, for mentioning that point. I remember Radhanath Maharaj. So advancement is shortcuts is a sign of sorry, I don't want to use this word foolishness actually, huh? So we should not shortcut. Again, there may be some genuine reasons. Someday you are really rushing. But yeah, my Guru Maharaj said some days you should do detailed worship. Every day you are rushing, understand? Some days, Sunday, festival day, this and that, offer a lot of things to Krishna. Make, one day 20 things for Krishna. At home, I'm saying, make 20 things. Today is the day for Krishna. Give that day to Krishna. Chant extra rounds, read extra Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, do something extra from the home deities. For temple, obviously, we should do. And we try in every festival. So, yeah, do more for Krishna. If not possible every day, at least some days, take those days out. Okay.
Sorry, Prabhuji, I just had one question.
Okay, Mata.
Just in regards to that, if we say like in with our home deities, if we are suppose I'm not sure whether yeah about this, but like every day, when we are doing the aarti or waking up the deities in the morning doing the aarti, and I'm not sure how other people are doing, but like if we are not like we are just doing bathing the deities on the Ekadashi day, that does mean we are not
Oh, that's fine, Mataji.
doing
That's fine.
Raganuga process. Because we are
Okay,
not
okay. I'm no one to judge Mata for that. All I can say, our regular deity worship should be done. Whatever little you have established for your house, follow it nicely. And as soon as you have some opportunity, it's like your kid. The deities are like your kid. And you just don't do the shortcuts every day. Sometimes you give sandwiches to your kid, just bread and jam. Other day you make nice dal, chawal, paratha, sabji, and you pack 6 boxes for your kid. So deities are like that. So do the best. Someone may do Ekadashi, someone do on Sunday, someone do every day. At the end of the day, there are details. Yeah, because every devotee may have a lot of other sevas, so we can't judge as a standard. But the point is, yeah, give yourself to Krishna as best as possible. Okay, let's move to the next point, which is sort of a little technical, but very nice. I'll not read the whole paragraph. Prabhupada is giving when does the Raganuga Bhakti start. So I'll just read the last 3-4 lines. So Raganuga Bhakti only starts at the advanced stages of Ruchi or actually Asakti. So unless you have Asakti for Krishna, you don't have Raganuga Bhakti. You're not on that platform. So there are 9 stages of Bhakti. Anyone remembers the 9 stages of Bhakti? Mridula Mata? 9 stages of Bhakti. Everyone knows that. Mridula Mataji, you're on mute. Okay, we will just quickly say so. Shraddha, everyone knows Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya, Anartha Nivratti, and then after Anartha Nivratti, there's another scale. So Anartha Nivratti, then you get some Ruchi. Some Ruchi. I will explain that in chapter 19, so I will not go too much detail here. Then comes Asakti, and then comes Bhava and Prema. So Raganuga platform can be a very high advanced of Ruchi. Ruchi means I have a spontaneous Ruchi in something, not that I'm just being beaten and then I'm doing the seva. Ruchi or Asakti. Asakti means established attachment. Established. It's completely established. And then you come Bhava and Prema. So Raganuga platform is a very high platform. We are not talking Ragatmika as yet. We are talking Raganuga. I'll explain that. So it comes at the advanced end of sadhana bhakti. This is the advanced stage of madhyam adhikari. So not anyone can practice raganuga bhakti. So advanced stage. Then comes the stage of bhava, which thickens in the stage of prema. The chanting, hearing, remembering continues all through these stages. So not like a raganuga bhakta is not chanting anymore, not reading anymore. No, it continues. A sannyasi is also chanting, a neophyte bhakta is also chanting. Yes, Sakira Dika Mataji.
Prabhuji, just a question.
Yes.
Where does end of material desire sit in? When
End of
does it
material.
happen that all the material desires are gone? Is it after Raganuga or even after that?
Okay, it goes till Bhava, Mata. Bhava also carries something. We'll talk about Bhava Bhakti in 2 chapters, so please wait. But it carries on. We'll talk the whole detail of it as per NOD. So 17 and 18 belongs to Bhava Bhakti. So short answer is it continues for a long time. But the thing is, it starts gets minimized, and sometimes only the reactions are there, which are like in getting fructified. So that you just can't stop. You just have to let it come, and our bhakti should be strong enough to deal with them. Our bhakti is not strong, then we get overridden by those reactions, basically. Huh? Like your enemy comes and you're not strong enough to deal with your enemy, so he will overrule you, overpower you. But if you are strong, your bhakti is strong, then you can overpower your enemy. So material desires continue. One sadhu was giving one example, very nice example. You cut your nails like every week or every fortnight, they come back again. You cut your nails again, they come back again. Gaur Gopal Prabhu, actually. You cut your hair, I do, they come back again. The point is, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsar, you have to fight them back. But the thing is, you have to become very strong warrior. Chaitanya Prabhu gave an example of an experienced firefighter. If you're a new firefighter, the fire is there. You have some equipments to deal with the fire, but sometimes you can get burned because you're not experienced as yet. But slowly in bhakti, you become so established. Established does not mean the anarthas will not come you, but you have established yourself in, you can say you have a good weaponry system. As soon as they come, you know how to shoot them. They will keep coming back. The nails will keep coming back. Hairs will keep coming back. So you have to cut them again and again and again. But through the experience, you know how to cut them very fast. So and only at prema actually everything goes away. We'll talk about it. Okay, Mridula Mata, you have something to add?
No, Prabhu, are you able to hear me now?
Yes, I can hear.
Okay, sorry, Prabhu. There was
That's
something with my.
no problem. All good, Mata. This is all internet thing, so what can we do? All good. Okay, so that we now last point. This is by Prabhupada. Beautiful point. We should not think of Vaidhi Bhakti in a belittling way. Oh, they're struggling. No, no, no. Vaidhi Bhakti is an exchange of love between the devotee and the Lord, which impels a person to place himself under the order of Guru and Shastra. Thus, Vaidhi Bhakti is a division of pure devotional service. So we should not think a struggling sadhaka is not a devotee. No, he's still a devotee. Huh? He's struggling, work in progress, is still a devotee. Huh? So we should have a lot of respect for other sadhakas. Obviously, we're not going to compromise. But from heart, we respect everyone, even if he's chanting one round. Manushanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye. Out of millions of people, this person has started chanting the name of Krishna in Ram. So we respect them. Slowly, their anarthas will go away one day. Okay. Now, Raganuga Bhakti, a paragraph was introduced by Prabhupada in chapter 2. I'll not read. This is all in chapter 2 in NOD. Let's read the definition. This is by Rupa Goswami, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has used this in CC as well, Madhya Leela 22:154. I'll quickly read the translation. Devotional service in spontaneous love is vividly expressed and manifested by the inhabitants of Vrindavan. Devotional service that accords with their devotional service is called Raganuga Bhakti. I'll read it again. Devotional service that accords. Accords means which follows them. So we are not talking about the Braja Bhakti here. What we are talking here as Raganuga, devotional service which follows the Braja Bhakti. There's two different things. There's a leader and there's a follower. So we're not talking about the leaders or Brajavasis or the Bhakti of Brajavasis. What we are talking, the Bhakti which follows them in their footsteps. That's called Raganuga Bhakti. And the Bhakti of Brajavasis is known as Ragatmika bhakti, and I'll explain that in a minute. So devotional service that accords, follows with their devotional service, means Braj Bhakti, is called Raga Nuga Bhakti, or devotional service following in the wake of a spontaneous loving service. So Raga, Anuga, there are two words. Anuga means following. Anuga means following. Raga means deep attachment. So one who is a follower of the bhaktas who have Ragatmika Bhakti is called Raganuga Bhakta. But again, I cannot say, okay, we are also Raganuga Bhakta. I'm also following Nanda Maharaj. It doesn't work that way. For myself to practice, I have to be in the platform of Asakti. So I'm on the platform of Anartha Nivritti. So we cannot say that. So if you're on that platform, then you can follow Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Maya, and the Gopis nicely. That bhakti will be Raganuga Bhakti. So one is Ragatmika Bhakti, one is Raga Anuga Bhakti. So this is the translation in NOD and Chaitanya Charitamrita. Bhanu Maharaj has also translated this, so I thought it will be good to read Bhanu Maharaj's definition. Raganuga Bhakti is defined as that bhakti which follows after the Ragatmika. Forgive me, there's a T missing here. Ragatmika Bhakti found distinctively in the inhabitants of Braja. So Brajavasis have bhakti. That bhakti is known as Rag Atmika Bhakti. And the person who follows those Brajavasis to get the similar mood, suppose a person has a mood of a parental mood, like Nanda Maharaj, for example. So he will start, if he has enough qualification, say he's an Asakti, then he will start following in the footsteps of Nanda Maharaj. He will read a lot of pastimes. He will see what Nanda Maharaj was doing for the pleasure of the Lord. And then he will get his parental feeling for Krishna a lot. Or similarly for Yashodamaya, for example. So you will be known as Raga Anuga Bhakta. But Nanda Maharaj is known as Ragatmika Bhakta. So now before we start Raga Anuga Bhakti, this chapter 15 will start explaining what is Ragatmika Bhakti. Okay, so literally, okay, sorry, Mohit Prabhu or Priya Mata has a question.
Yes, Prabhu, I'm just trying to comprehend so you're just saying, so Raganuga Bhakti, after that there follows Raga Atmika Bhakti. So could you just clarify the two again?
Okay, so Nanda Maharaj is known as Ragatmika Bhakta, one example.
Yeah.
And if you have the mood of becoming a parent of Krishna, for example, and you're following the examples of Nanda Maharaj, you will be known as Raga Anuga Bhakta. Another person can follow the Braj Gopis. Another person may follow Yashoda Maya, like that. You will never become mother of Krishna, right? You will always be following the footsteps of Mother Yashoda, for example, or Braj Gopis. So
Okay.
they are called Ragatmika Bhakta. So this is what we are going to read in this page and in few pages further. And a person who is following them will be known as Raga Anuga Bhakta.
So
Anuga
Mother
means
Yashoda, okay. So Mother Yashoda is Raga Atmika Bhakti. So
Ragatmika Bhakta. That's right.
we are doing Raganuga. Okay.
We will be doing Raga
I'm
Anuga
trying to
Bhakti
do, yeah.
if you are in the platform of Asakti.
Okay.
Right
Good.
now, we are probably in the first three stages. We are doing some bhajan kriya, some anartha nivritti, some sadhu sangha. We are sort of in that stage. So once we reach to Asakti stage, then we can practice really.
Thank you.
Now, don't get confused, and that's fine. This is why we are explaining those two chapters. So just read through, and then if you have questions, we can take it. Rasanand Prabhuji, yes.
Prabhu, quick question. Raga Atmika Bhakti, does it fall under Baba Bhakti or Sadhana Bhakti?
Sadhana Bhakti. Or Ragatmika Bhakti. That is
Rag-
Prema Bhakti. Prema
Prema
Bhakti. That
Bhakti.
is pure Prema Bhakti. Raga Nuga Bhakti is under Sadhana Bhakti.
Yeah.
So Ragatmika is not under any division which we are reading. This is pure Prema of Brajavasis towards Krishna.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So Ragatmika. So literally Ragatmika means one whose very essence, Atma, is intense attachment for Krishna. Raga. Raga means also color. Wearing red colored eyeglasses causes one to see red everywhere. Similarly, one has an extremely intense attachment. He sees the object of his obsession everywhere all the time. So here we are giving examples of Ragatmika Bhaktas. Their Atma, Atmika word comes from Atma. Their Atma is Krishna. They cannot live without Krishna a moment for anything. They want Krishna's pleasure. Even if they have to get a lot of displeasure, that's fine. But Krishna has to be pleased. they are all ragatmika bhaktas. The passion of this world are only weak and perverted reflection. Real raga is the passionate obsession with pleasing Lord Sri Krishna. The passion to serve Krishna consumes the devotee's consciousness to such an extent that they cannot even think of anything else under any circumstances. He gives the further definitions. So previous verse, I think it was 271, sorry, 270. So 1 to 270. This is 272. I'll not expand on this verse. There's a lot of explanations given, but we just don't have time. So I'll just read the translation. When one becomes attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his natural inclination to love is fully absorbed in thoughts of the Lord. That is called transcendental attachment, and devotion service according to that attachment is called ragatmika or spontaneous devotion service. So this is the definition of 272 ragatmika bhakti. 270 is the definition of raga anuga bhakti. Mohit Prabhu or Mataji, you have a question or comment?
Prabhuji, in terms of like gopis, were they with Ragatmika Bhakti or
Okay.
they are
Prabhu, let's read the chapter because this is the chapter about. So don't, yeah, we'll read everything in the chapter, Prabhuji, and after the chapter is done, then we can do the question and answer because I know you're confused. I was also confused when I read
yes,
it first.
Prabhuji,
So
it's going above
no
my
problem. All good, Prabhuji.
following
It
the-
is natural to be confused here because many times these words are used differently. Let's read the chapter and then we can do the question. Hopefully, all your answers will be done in this slides anyway.
Sure, Prabhuji.
Translation by Bhanu Maharaj of Ragatmika Bhakti. Raga is defined as a spontaneous, deep thirst for the object of love. Bhakti that is impelled exclusively by such a thirst is called Ragatmika Bhakti. Now, this is the example from Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 7, 1, 30 and 31. You see two verses, 274 and 275. I picked from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, but actually they are from Srimad Bhagavatam, 7, 1, 30 and 31. So this is the example, very famous example given by different speakers to explain different emotional relations which devotees had for Krishna. I'll read the second one very quickly, although the first is also very nice. Gopya kamat bhayat kanso dvesha chadadeyo nripaha. So Gopya had a feeling of kama. I'll explain the word kama in a minute. Gopya had a feeling of kama, sometimes translated as lusty desires. We'll expand on it. Bhayat kanso. Kansa also had a thought of Krishna with bhaya, with fear. Dvesha means envy. Chaitya dayoho. Chaidi Raj means Shishupal. So Shishupal had a feeling for Krishna of envious feeling. Kansa had a feeling of fear. Gopit had feeling of kama. Sambandhat Vrishnayaha. Vrishnivanshi, they considered Krishna as Sambandhi, relative. Snehad Yuyam. Yuyam refers to here Pandava because Narad Muni is speaking this verse to Pandavas or Yudhishthira Maharaj. So Yuyam, aap log bhaktya, you are worshipping Krishna or having relationship of bhakti with Krishna. Sorry, Sneha. So you have feeling of Snehad Yuyam. Bhaktya Vayam. Vayam means referring to Narad Muni himself. So Vayam, I have a feeling of bhakti towards Krishna. So there are 6 feelings are given in this verse. Lusty desires in the gopis, Gopya Kama, fear in Kansa, envy in Shishupal and other kings of Chaitya, kinship in Vrishnis, which is Sambandhat Vrishnayoho, affection in Pandavas, Snehad Yuyam, devotional service in Narada Bhakti Avyam. So there are 6 ways a person can connect with Krishna. This is the example Rupa Goswami has given in the example of expanding Raganuga Bhakti. So there are 6 examples. But let's read forward. The main point is that spontaneous devotion to Krishna is the best method. Whatever way you can be spontaneously absorbed, including, sorry to say, including Bhaya and envy. Shishupal and Kansa were completely absorbed in Krishna. Now we may be doing bhakti, but not as absorbed as Kansa. Now we are not recommending you to become Kansa or follow in his footsteps. The point is, absorption is the key. They were fully absorbed, and because they were fully absorbed, they did not go to hell. They went back to Godhead actually. So we know Shishupal, when he got killed by Krishna Sudarshan Chakra, his soul came out and merged into the lotus feet of Krishna. So he did not go to hell just because he was fully absorbed in the feeling of Krishna, in thinking about Krishna, same as Kansa. So absorption in Krishna is the key. Now for us, obviously, we are not on that high stages, but we can get absorbed in seva. If you remember, there are 4 types of meditation. So we, as a sadhaka, we should do seva dhyan. Someone can do krida dhyan, someone can do other pastimes dhyan of Krishna, but a sadhaka should do seva dhyan. हमारी क्या सेवाएं हैं? I know some devotees who cook, they plan for cooking for months ahead. I'm going to cook this for Krishna, and then they have the whole menu, the ingredients, how to procure, and then they get the sponsorship. Uh, so much dhyan is there for Krishna's pleasure. That's the very nice dhyan. So we should also do dhyan. Exam आने वाले हैं, पढ़ाई करनी है. So we should do dhyan of our seva. This is very nice. So whenever we are working in the home, we are still thinking about Krishna's seva. So some sort of absorption is very nice. Now, the divisions of Ragatmika Bhakti, there are 2 divisions, Kama Rupa and Sambandhana Rupa. Kama Rupa means you have a relationship with Krishna through Kama. And we have to understand this word nicely. Just wait for a second. So Kama means here, translation, sensual attraction. Kama Rupa consists of devotees with intense desire to satisfy Lord in the conjugal love. Sambandhana Rupa, relationships. So when you have sambandha with Krishna, sambandha can refer to a parental relationship or a friendly relationship with Krishna. Dasya relationship with Krishna. That's sambandhana rupa. But kama rupa is direct conjugal love relationship with Krishna. So Ragatmika is divided into kama rupa and sambandhana rupa. Now let's look at each. This is a point which I got from somewhere, but very nice. Although conjugal love is also a type of relationship, isn't it? Husband-wife relationship is also a relationship. But because Rupa Goswami wanted to give a separate category, it's very preeminent position because Madhure Bhav is the highest. So Rupa Goswami has put it in a different category. So also, this is also a sambandha. There's a very special sambandha. So Rupa Goswami has put that in a separate category and every other sambandha under Sambandhana Rupa. Now let's read Ragatmika Bhakti Kamrupa. Definition is 1 to 283. So I'm just going forward from 1 to 270. So these are all verses, so I'll not read the words. The type of bhakti with full absorption in the beloved is called Kama Rupa Bhakti, which produces an intrinsic thirst for a conjugal relationship with Lord in the Atma. It is called Bhakti because in that condition there is only one eagerness for giving pleasure to Krishna. Now we should not understand this word Kama from a mundane perspective, where kama only means my desires and how I'm going to fulfill my desires. Here, kama is used, but in a spiritual sense, and in a spiritual sense, it means we are giving the best pleasure to Krishna. But because we don't have any other word in our dictionary to represent that intense thirst to satisfy Krishna, the word kama is used. But this kama is not the worldly sensual pleasure. This kama refers to pleasing of Krishna, but it has so much intensity which matches with the intensity of the material world. That's why this word is used. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary, I'll read as it is. Kama should be described as a particular type of prema with full spontaneous absorption in the beloved object, which has already been mentioned in the definition of Ragatmika Bhakti. That which is famous as prema is called Kama Rupa in this verse. Other varieties are excluded, which is Sambandhana Rupa. The verse covers only the characteristics of Kama Rupa. What is the effect? The thirst for conjugal enjoyment famous as Kama or lust is actually a thirst composed of prema alone, with no trace of material lust, and this thirst becomes one's essential nature. Swa Atma. So your Atma becomes like, I have to give pleasure to Krishna. How can I give? One little example, there's so many. Manjaris thing. So there are many gopis and there are some manjaris. So manjari thing, by us making the arrangement for Radha and Krishna coming together will give us the best pleasure. So they don't try to associate with Lord directly. They get the best pleasure just by making the arrangement, doing that seva. Nikunja yuno ratikere siddhai. So we read in Guru Ashtak every day. So spiritual master is arranging the meeting of Radha and Krishna, which is understood as per Gaudiya Sampradaya, is a Manjari Bhav. So in Manjaris, they get the most pleasure by not getting a union directly with Krishna, but getting pleasure when we arrange for Radha and Krishna coming together. So you understand? So we are not getting directly association of Krishna, but we still get the same pleasure. And actually it says Manjaris get more pleasure than the gopis. That's another point of discussion. But the point here is this lust or kama is nothing to do with the material lust or material kama. It's completely to do with how can we satisfy Krishna. Sometimes very hard for our materially contaminated mind to understand all that. That's why we should read Acharya's commentary and try to just understand it in that way. It is giving pleasure to Krishna, nothing to do with our own pleasure. Okay, I'll skip that. Just expanding on the word kama more. Kama, lust, is the intense thirst to satisfy the senses. Just a simple definition. And to counteract that, Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Atmendriya priti vancha tare bali kam, Krishna indriya priti icha dhare premanam. So Atmendriya, if you want to satisfy your own indriya, your own senses, what you call that? Kam. But Krishna indriya, if you want to satisfy Krishna's indriya, which is Krishna himself, his indriya and him are not separate. Dhare premna, that's called prema. And that's why when you serve Radha Gopinath deities, for example, for their satisfaction, this is all prema. This is all prema. Whatever service you are doing, it is for satisfaction of Radha Gopinath, nothing to do with us. That is called prema. But at home, when we are satisfying our senses, for example, that is kama, or anywhere. So material kama means the intense thirst to satisfy own senses. Spiritual kama is the intense thirst to satisfy Krishna's spiritual senses. Spiritual senses are never lusty or selfish. When Srila Rupa Goswami says that Krishna's relationship with gopis is lusty, kama rupa, he uses the word in a figurative sense only to aid our basic understanding. So we understand what feelings gopis has. Srila Prabhupada explains the gopis' ecstatic love for Krishna is sometimes described by scholars as being like the lusty desires of the material world, but actually they should not be taken as the literal fact. It is simply a way of trying to understand the transcendental situation. The gopis are consumed and obsessed by a passion to satisfy Krishna, the force which is beyond our ability to comprehend. So we will never understand this, at least in these stages. So don't over try to understand this as well. By comparing it to a mundane lust, the single most consuming and overwhelming urge in our experience, we may catch the slightest hint of the intensity of the gopis' desire to serve Krishna. So try to understand this page as it is. No need for any comprehension there. But the point here is gopis are pleasing Krishna, not pleasing themselves. And this is the reciprocation of Krishna from his side. Okay, I'll stop here. Raghi Radhika Mataji, if you want to add something on this one.
This Prabhu, there is a question.
Yes.
Prabhu, how do we know that we are satisfying Krishna or ourselves? For example, when we are at home, I'm talking about myself. I cook for the deities, and then whatever I can cook in the maximum limit of mine, I cook. Especially, I'm talking about festivals. But then I am satisfied that I cooked so much. So is that wrong? Or how do I know is Krishna is satisfied? And on the second part of the question is, we also in this country, not in India, but in this country, we also see that food is not wasted. So we generally cook whatever is eaten by the family members. Is it also not okay? How do we understand this?
Okay, very nice. First question. Sorry, I already forgot the first one while contemplating on the second one.
How do we know that is Krishna is
Is Krishna
satisfied or we are
satisfaction or
doing for
satisfaction?
our
Okay.
satisfaction?
As a principle, just as a principle, not talking about detail because detail is quite detail. We have to make sure we are trying on our regular worship. I'm talking regular cooking. We are trying to satisfy Krishna. Like when the bhoga comes in the house, for example, potato, tomato comes in the house. They are for Krishna's pleasure. They are for, and that's how we should train kids as well. Like everything is for Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And we can respect and then we can offer. Now, regarding the capacity, again, a detailed thing. We cannot come to a conclusion here. Different people have different capacities, physical capacity, mental capacity, cooking capacity as well. Sometimes mothers and fathers, they're both working and all those things are there. But again, the principle should be maintained in our mind. What are we thinking? And then it's a slow training. So you go from cooking for Krishna just as a duty and then cooking for Krishna as love. Like when you cook, any mothers cook or any fathers cook for their kids, it's not a duty. That's clearly love. My son, my daughter loves kheer. So you're cooking kheer and meditating on your boy or girl, which is natural and that's nice. So slowly this feeling comes. You have to consciously cultivate. You're making kheer. Lord Gopal loves kheer. God Nitai loves kheer. Jagannath Ji loves kheer. Like that, a conscious cultivation. Fake it till you make it. Again, we are saying the principal details. It can be lot. Will depend on person to person. The principle is a conscious cultivation of that feeling. Yes, it is not for me or my family. This aloo ka sabji is for my deities, God Nitai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra. So again, conscious cultivation, and slowly you'll get there. I've seen the journeys of many devotees like that. Okay. Second one, food is not wasted, and you put appropriate. So if you're making karela ka sabji, no one eats the karela ka sabji. Someone would have told you Lord Ram likes it, and I don't know Lord Ram likes. Gauranga Mahaprabhu likes karela, that I know. Suppose, okay, take example of God Nitai likes karela ka sabji, so you cannot cook karela every day because it will be wasted. Valid point. So you cook what God Nitai likes and you like as well. Come to a common boundary. So, and if you don't know, you cook with Shraddha, and definitely it's just a matter of training. It happens. And obviously, we put only that much quantity which can be consumed by the family, and that's all okay. And that's why we have temple deities and home deities, because the flexibility in home deities is there. Timing you can adjust, varieties you can adjust, amount, quantity you can adjust. But in temple, no compromise. There, 7 offerings must be done on time, and there are, I don't know, I'm not a pujari, but Prema Bhakti Mataji can guide. She cooks for deities, 3 sabjis has to be there. These many pakoras has to be there. There's a minimum. We have to do it. So that's temple deities, no compromise. But at home, these things are okay. But again, a conscious cultivation in our journey will definitely bring us to that point where we will see we are cooking for Krishna. And I've seen many devotees how they have separate kitchen for Krishna sometimes, if they can do it. Separate utensils, everything. Sink is separate. Some devotees do one by one. So now we are washing Krishna's dishes because they only have one sink. And then, we'll wash our dishes like that. The point is so nice they are thinking about Krishna's pleasure and Suchi and Muchi from Krishna's perspective. It will come. Okay, I'll stop here. It's 9:05. Sorry, I went a little bit over.